Right, guys. We're on the 8th of August and the heat's back. There's a forecast of getting up to 38 in parts of Bulgaria today. That's quite hot. I don't know what it'll be just here. Probably a couple of degrees less. I had a comment yesterday, which, I couldn't sleep last night. Because I was kind of called a scruff bag. The comment said, "Is the moths eating or my clothes?" Now that's my grey man outfit because you've got to keep a low profile, and you've got to make the locals and authorities think you're destitute. So today, just to prove, that we have got a wardrobe, I've got the Gant Oxford shirt on, Gant USA, which I bought in Montreux, and the Lake Geneva shores a few years back. That's where Freddie Mercury used to hang around. And there's a statue actually of Freddie Mercury on the shore of the lake in Montreux. They had a recording studio there, and I remember buying the shirt, and the guy was like, "A suit you, sir, suit you, sir." He said, "But of course for your summer collection." And I thought, yeah, sure. But it's a good shirt. I mean, I've got three Gant shirts, and they're good. I like them. Anyway, so this is for you. This is for you. The commenter about the moths eating the. I won't pan down to my underpants and socks, but this is the top half. So yeah, I'll showcase a few shirts on here now. I've been called a scruff bag, and people have noticed. Which I'm sure a lot of people have. And I kind of do it on purpose because they're my grey man clothes. You got to keep it down, keep a low profile. I was hoping someone would send me some money to buy some more clothes, but no one's offered yet. But maybe you can have a collection. So yeah, I've been watching this Star Maram, and there's a lot of stuff knocking about on YouTube about Starmer and Starmerama, two-tier Kia, and he's arguing with Elon Musk and all the rest of it, And it all detracts from, there's three little girls got killed, and no one's talking about this guy and what's going to happen to him and why he did it. And, have they interviewed him, have they asked him, try and get to the bottom of what happened and how he got to where he was? Because he doesn't seem to be, part of any radical group or anything like that. So it would always be interesting to know how these people are produced, because they're definitely produced in the UK. There's a lot of this knife crime, and he was African descent, and a lot of the knife crime is black people, not brown people. So might be something up there, But Starmer, he just took the opportunity to put people in jail, who get angry and actually, they may even be genuinely opposed to immigration, because it hasn't really been a choice for people, and not everyone likes mass immigration. I'll tell you that because I live in Bulgaria. and the whole nation here, including the government, they don't like it and they don't want it, and because that's not how they view things, you know. They had mass immigration, and it was like from the Ottomans, and they didn't have a choice, and it was an invasion, you know, and it could be deemed as the same thing, you know. The people haven't got a choice, and so that'd be the theme now of the choices, what you've got. Now, it seems to me in the UK, with all the agenda stuff and all the everything else, is that you don't really have a choice to opt out, except you've got to keep stum, you've got to keep quiet, and you've got to let it all happen around you, rather than have a choice, right? So that's my thing that I want to put across today, and it feeds into, you know, Eastern Europe and Bulgaria, and maybe other places, you know, maybe other places, not just Eastern Europe. Like, you know, if you go, you can choose places also, like if you like hot weather, maybe Malaysia. And someone said actually on one of the comments that they had a place in Moldova, and they didn't speak the language, so it was like going to be difficult. So you could head for somewhere like Malaysia, which is English speaking, you know. Everyone speaks English there. Or Vietnam. I've been looking at Vietnam for the winter, because it's not too hot. I thought it was all scorching there, but it isn't. A place called Da Nang. In our winter time, it's around about 26 degrees there. Anyway, so that's an aside. Just addressing a couple of comments, you know. There's not just Eastern Europe, and you can go there and they have, you know, they don't have mass immigration either. You know, Vietnam's Vietnam, and it's only really the Western people who attract this kind of thing, you know, and promote it for their own populations. And it's anyone's guess why they do that. There's various things put about, like Kalergi and stuff like that. Not to get too deep into it. So the main thing I want to say is if you really want a choice these days, right? I think they're being diminished in the UK. You haven't got a choice, and you haven't got a say. So, if you want a choice, the most obvious one to me would be get out of the UK, or find an enclave in the UK, which you really haven't got, you know, because the institutions and the schools and everything. If it's not immigration issues, it's other issues like what I'll talk about now. Now they've just had a vote in Bulgaria in the parliament. They haven't got a government, but the parliament still runs, you know, and they're voting on issues and that, you know, in the parliament. I think that they must be put up to the speaker by caretaker people or whatever. Anyway, they're still debating stuff and voting on stuff, you know. So they've just had a vote on whether to prohibit the teaching of adult content, and not to be in too much detail, the LGBTQ, whatever it is, in schools, and they voted 157 to 8 for and against, 157 against teaching this kind of content in school. So I mean, you know, if you're going to be a parent and that, and you don't want this to happen to your kids, and them to get indoctrinated in schools, not just on that subject, on many subjects. You might be, I would be looking to get a kid, if I was going to be having children soon, I would be thinking twice about putting them in the British or the American school systems, or Sweden or places like that, where they're quite clearly influenced and indoctrinated, So that would be, and you could homeschool them as well, in English. So they if you put them through the Bulgarian school, they'd learn the language and get a good education. The education system's fantastic in Bulgaria. It's always been good. Very well educated people. And you could also, teach them in English, or send them to an English. There are English speaking schools as well, if you didn't want to go down the other route, So that'd be an option. So these are the choices what we're faced with these days, And also, you're not faced here with, you've got no choice in England, in most cities, whether you're going to have mass immigration or not. You might not be the type of person that likes it. It never bothered me, because I kind of got out of the cities. I think they're toxic, the cities in the UK. But not everyone can do that, But and not everyone can go abroad. But this is the choices which you've got. If you're really opposed, say you're opposed to those two things, getting your kids indoctrinated in school and mass immigration, and none of it's your choice. Plus, you can't complain about it, and you can't say anything about it. You might end up in jail. Even, if you want to even go further and protest about it. So there's a clear choice, and you can just move elsewhere. And all them choices, you don't need them. That you've made the choice, and that's available. It's available for you to have the choice, and not the main reason I came here, but some of it was. I didn't like political correctness, and I still don't, because it's a one-way street. You're not in. Once you get political correctness, it's not two-way. That's what I didn't like about it, and don't like about it. It's not two-way. The people who practice and preach political correctness, and half of them don't practice it anyway. They just preach it, and then do the opposite. They don't go and live with these in these communities, and they don't take part in the debauchery either, and all that kind of stuff. They just promote it, and then go and hide away. That's what most political correct leftist people do. They're only proponents of sometimes called useful idiots, but they don't take part in what they preach most of the time. They only preach it, and then go and do the opposite, or don't take part in what they're going on about. So there's your choice. It's a choice of where you could go, I mean, for people who if I liked really hot weather, I'd go and give it a try in, say, Malaysia or Vietnam, or even Indonesia, which is that's Muslim, and if you really don't like Muslim stuff, but they seem to have a nice flavour, a better flavour of Islam, and so and I know people who go there. My daughter goes there actually, and has some ties there now, I think. and they really love it. Some people. So there's some choices, that you have, and they're diminishing now in the Western world. I mean, Canada sounds like an absolute nightmare, and so does Australia, who aren't really countries if you look really deep into it. They're just Commonwealth dependencies kind of thing. I think Australia it's kind of on paper it's just one little island somewhere in the Pacific. The actual constitution type Australia. Anyway, they're just kind of still Commonwealth places, and they're not real countries, And they're run by all these lunatics like Justin Trudeau. And and another thing I'd like to say as well about the UK is that, like, people are going on about this Starmer now, and will he last, and will he this? And he's just won by a landslide. Just had another opportunity to vote not for these people. You've just had an opportunity, another one, and you get one every few years. And people are saying, we've got to vote this, and we've got to, and the opportunities are there, and you haven't done it again. That's the UK, and the reason is most of the people are politically correct, and they're all for this thing. You saw last night that all the anti far right, or whatever you want to call them, they were out in force, so there's the other people. So you've got half of them are for all these things, like, they're voting for more things to happen, like what happened in Southport. That's the result. That's the result of what the whole political correct system. It all feeds in to these things, because where you don't have this political correctness, these things don't happen. Right? They don't happen in Hungary. Kind of race-related stabbings and all that. They don't happen. And why don't they happen? Because they don't have any of the ingredients to the soup, and they don't have them here either. They might have a couple of them here that might, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It's commonplace now, in like Paris or London, and people are asking why, and they're getting put in jail, and they're protesting because it's already happening, and it's already happened, and they're getting put in jail because they're getting angry. They're getting put away 5-10 years for like going against it. Now Starmer Armour, he wouldn't go and live in these places. And all these other people who are proponents of all this ideology, they wouldn't be living in any risk areas, And Starmer's got all the people around him, all the security men. You saw that in Southport. He had all these people surrounding him, all these security. Now those little girls they couldn't have all the security around them. He needs to think about things like that, Why doesn't he walk around with no security? If it's that great what they're creating, they shouldn't have the security, and shouldn't need it, should they? Our local politicians here, our mayor walks to work every day past my house here. A woman. She doesn't have any security with her. And she goes and has a coffee in the square and a cup of tea at dinner time in the square under the trees with all the staff there. So that's little small local government. But Starmer, and this is the best way to fight back against these people, is let them know who they are. And people are doing that, and that's the good way to do it, you know. It's pointless going and fighting with some mindless police in the streets, you know. That's what they want you to do. But they don't like you letting them know that you know who they are. They don't like that. Klaus Schwab doesn't like it, and he said so. And you should remind Starmer who he is and what he's doing. And he might not last long, actually, because he's gone too extreme. All at once, he might not last too long, and depends on what support he gets from his own party. But I don't think all of them are as vociferous as he is. And he clearly took the opportunity. Bang! The first opportunity. He's only been there 4 weeks. And the first opportunity he got for like all this, virtually declaring war on about 30% of the population. Anyway, so we'll see how that pans out anyway. But that's in Bulgaria. They're voting against these things by huge margins. This PC correctness, and you know. So there's your choice if you want to look at, you know, getting somewhere. Which, you know, you're not going to have any of these problems or ideological struggles. You know, if you think a certain way, there are places you can go. And in the UK, I don't think you got much choice. You know, and look, that's what it's looking like. And if you have got certain views, you can't have them. So think about it. Cheers.